I am so grateful that I get to talk to you guys today about a topic that's so important. You've been hearing me in a lot of the YouTube videos and little shorts that I've been making talking about the loss of innocence. And I've also had a lot of people ask me, what do you really mean about the loss of innocence? So I figured maybe it's about time I explain myself a little. The loss of innocence towards our children is the idea that a child can be exposed to pornography or they can be exposed to evil influences online. And it only takes a few seconds of them being online for them to put in a search or in some way be teleported to a zone on the internet that decreases their innocence instantaneously. It could be purely going to a firearms site or going to a war zone site, or it could be going to a site with pornography, or it could go to a site that is talking about alternative histories, or it could be a site that is talking about political movements. It doesn't really matter. The lack of innocence and the loss of innocence. First of all, from the internet, there is no innocence, so there's a complete lack of innocence, or the idea of preserving innocence. In many ways, you could say the internet has been designed to actually glorify people losing their innocence. And that's not cool, is it? I mean, it's not cool to think your innocence can just be swatted away just because corporations don't think there's any ethics involved in what they serve up to us. You see, the corporations do have ethics. That's when the ethics conform with their values. For example, their political sentiments. Like in America, a lot of tech companies lean to the left, so they serve with bias the left. And the right is considered a different tier than the left is considered. And it's really sad because instead of having dialogue to figure out what should be served for everyone, in America we've got division that's really along a political line. And that political line now is starting to divide people throughout the country, families, and more importantly, the internal workings of families, because people are not speaking to each other and they're not sharing, because if you are one political persuasion, you can't be trusted. You have to be insane or something is mental about you. For real. We've gone a little bit over the edge. We've got genned up, haven't we? We've become genned up people. We're self-filled with information. We're brimming with information. We're genned up. We attack each other. We don't allow people to have different political ideas. Instead, we say, if your idea is not mine, it's bad. That is also a lack of innocence and the loss of innocence. I think the loss of our ability to discern fact, the loss of our ability to discern who we are as a society, and the fact that we can't disagree among each other is sad. And statistics do prove this, that we've become much more alienated from each other. And that's because of truth decay. And truth decay is this whole idea that governments and the media and people start to distrust each other. And it starts at the corporate level, which we've seen in the United States. And then it accelerates. And it accelerates because, like a snowball gathering snow as it tumbles down a mountain, what's occurring is that once you diminish truth on one side of the aisle or one side of a fact, and you make it impossible for people to introduce new facts, and that one side is perhaps not correct, that there's actually a middle ground, we then have a polarization, the idea that the party or the thing that has the most power wins, and then the other side that has less power is stifled and is actually asked to be quiet. So in the polarization that's occurring in America right now, What's really occurring is some people are allowed to speak and others can't. And that, to me, is the ultimate loss of innocence that's occurring in this country. The fact that we can't trust each other, that we can't talk to each other as friends and also dissenters from each other's opinion is sad. You know, great ideas really come together when you have some friction, when you actually have different viewpoints being brought to the problem. And I think this country was built on great ideas. The founding fathers loved debating. They liked it because they knew how to debate. There would be a shard of truth, a reality that would be born, that would create great outcomes. Today we've forgotten that debate, properly done, creates wonderful outcomes. What we do instead is we debate, defame, cancel. Because if we're debating you, you're cancelable. Instead, if we're debating you, there's a possibility you might have some great ideas and we need to share. It's sad, but debate today equates to you're either for us or you're against us. There's no middle ground. I really would love to see far more middle ground. We would not have truth decay if that middle ground existed. And I challenge all of us to realize that the innocence stolen from our children is also the innocence stolen from us. We don't like having innocence stolen. We don't. I know you don't. And not only do you not like having innocence stolen from yourself, but ultimately what you're craving is to have a voice without having to yell, shout, or being fearful to actually suggest your voice. And if you happen to be one of the people that have a loud voice that is not censored, then I ask you, do you think you could find it within yourself to actually speak to people you disagree with and ask them to join you by finding something you can all agree on and work on trying to create harmonious outcomes? Because ultimately, if we want to preserve innocence, we have to find a way. And that way, in my opinion, is through us having dialogue, loving each other by realizing we're different, loving each other by realizing we are and have always been individuals. Therefore, we think all differently. Let's honor that. Let's stop trying to crush someone for thinking differently and start to try to bring their perspectives and ours together to form much better ideas. And finally, if we want to protect our children, then we all need to come together. And that's why I've been talking about us. We have to start agreeing with each other. We have to start supporting our kids by starting to support ourselves. So innocence equates, in my mind, to us getting our own acts together and loving on each other, having dialogue with each other, and finally, putting our children first. Thank you.